And good morning. It's Thursday. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Welcome. As we begin this day, we're starting it very cold. Our first time at freezing at this point, 32 degrees right now. We will warm up. We'll get to 66 before it's all said and done. Tonight, not near as cold. You might still want to have a little bit of a blanket and some heat. We'll hit about 42 tonight, but not near as cold as it is right now. So one of those mornings, and of course you have to do this at your own discretion. I preferably always like to warm my car up. Certain areas it is probably not safe to do that anymore. I even remember in some portions of America, and I want to say one time in Jackson, I don't think they have time to do this now, wasn't it illegal to leave your car running unattended? Didn't some areas of America do that? Doesn't make sense. I'm not sure if you can hear off in the distance a light bark. You ever had that one dog? And that would be my little bitty one, Sophie. My little one there, which is Ellie, and my bigger dog, Sophie, standing there now going, "Why me, Lord? What did I ever do?" She just barks non-constantly at, maybe the wind blowing or a leaf, anything that she can see. I think we've all had those pups that when they're starting out, they can't help themselves. How are you this morning? I do hope you're feeling good and your day is starting well. You've had a cup of coffee or whatever it is. Some folks are really addicted to having a Coke in the morning to get that day started. Depends on what you like. Amy Young, how are you? Good morning. Levi Ware watching us from Fort Worth, Texas today. A little ways off there. A lot of things go on there. Philly, 29 this morning, Terry says. Wow, that is good. Do hope that is a good one there. Let's see here. Lots of things going on today as we begin it. We'll tell you all about the parade that is coming up this morning. That's not long off, is it? It is not. So we'll be doing that before long. Let's take a minute and let's head out to the church this morning and see Brother Ben.
Anger can be such a destructive emotion. But as long as you don't kill somebody, you're cool, right? Well, Jesus tells us we better think again. You see, he's not just concerned with our destructive hands. He's also concerned with our destructive heart and our destructive mouth. Even if you never lay an angry hand on that man in real life, imagining doing so in your heart is wicked. And while you might not ever bash that woman with your fists, bashing her with your words is sinful as well. Instead of destroying that person, Jesus has a better idea in Matthew 5:24. Work out your differences in a peaceful manner and reconcile with him. Sound impossible? Well, God makes all things possible. How different would our community be if we really tried Jesus' way first? Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. You'll find them all there on Highway 19 at the church if you need a good place to go this Sunday morning or Wednesday. They'll be there. Let's see, happy birthday to Brenda Landrum and also David Lee celebrating his birthday today. And I also have to say happy birthday to Debbie Alexander, my former co-host that we worked so many years together, celebrating a birthday today. Boy, they come and go quickly, don't they? I think I've got one in February on the way. Whew. I did get reports of gunshots in the area of the 4200 block of 37th Street last night. Haven't quite got all the details on that. We're still investigating that, hoping to find out some more details on that. But again, the 4200 block of 37th Street, that's going to be just east of State Boulevard is where that's going to be, and south of North Hill Street is where that's located at. And without a doubt, as you look at things in the big picture, it's been a little bit quieter the last week. Not near as many major crimes. Now, we have our nightly folks that are going through cars. That was going on last night as well. People trying to get into your car. Always check your stuff in the morning. Make sure you don't need to contact police if something is missing. But knock on wood, we hadn't had anything major to rock our world lately, which is good. We need some breaks in major crimes that happen. JT, good morning. Bree, good morning. We did have an accident yesterday, Russell Drive. And you go, okay, Russell Drive would be right across from where Parrish is, where this comes up by Hawkins Crossing. Comes down through there. We had an accident there with injuries. The Meridian Fire Department was sent there as we pull this up to show you there a little bit better view of where this was. So you get an idea of it as we pull it up. And that's taking a second. There we go. As you'll look there, that's about where that was. This is Blank's Motel on Russell Drive. Right over here is going to be Parish, and this is Hawkins Crossing right here that comes across there. Eastern Gardens back this direction. But had an accident right there yesterday. Had some folks had to be checked out by Metro. We also had another accident. This was a rollover where a car flipped on Highway 496. This is just east of the city limits of Meridian, 496, as we pull this up for you to take a look at. Car flipped over first when we got that. Boy, that's peculiar why it's doing that. When we first got this report, it was reported that a log truck was involved. That is always scary. As they got to the scene and officials investigated this, it would not be so. It was just a car that flipped over, lost control. They were checked out by Metro as well. It wasn't as good as we go to the south and we go to Jones County yesterday. County Road 39. We would quickly learn that 2 people lost their lives yesterday. This is horrible. A head-on collision happened yesterday here. Our friends at Clark County Hot Topics were reporting on this. They had to bring in the helicopter. 2 people did pass away in that. Just awful. Prayers for everybody involved in that. That is one of the most tragic things that can happen, to be able to have to take a phone call like that. So we pass condolences along to that. We're close to our area here as we go to Jasper County there in the southern portion, the Heidelberg area, right along in there. As we look at this, do y'all remember the story? This is one of the things that's going on in Mississippi of the daycare, Hamilton, Mississippi, to where you had one person in a mask scaring the children. Well, it ended up she was the first to be relieved her duties, and then 3 others would also be connected to it, also lost their jobs. As we learned late yesterday, charges are now filed against the employees, 5 of them, in connection with this. We'll see what happens with this as the police have been investigating this more and more. I'm not going to show the video because it's just one of those. It's out there. Each one of these young ladies faced 3 counts of felony child abuse. Pretty serious. They'll never work in a daycare center again, most likely. But it's out there, and it's one of those things of you kind of cringe to see it. So if you watch it, be prepared for that. And what they were doing was getting in the face of children and just terrifying them. And it went on and on and on. Someone videoed it. The owner of the daycare was not aware that it was going on. She has not been charged. And I assume at this point she's most likely replaced the employees with that. Tragedy. Have y'all seen this? By now I think most have, but if you have not, we get this from Mississippi State this morning. Mississippi State football player has died. 19-year-old Samuel Westmoreland. He lived in Tupelo. Now, we have not been told what happened with the circumstances. All of this is the coroner is being involved with this. But a bright young man. The school passes along condolences, as we'll find out hopefully today, maybe no later than tomorrow, as to what led to the death of this young man. The Bulldogs, of course, set to take on Alabama this weekend. Keep him and his family in thoughts as this comes about. That's got to be hard. And again, we have no idea just yet. As we go to Jackson, as often, y'all have no idea how many times I've talked to police when we've had something happen in Meridian. And I said, well, give me the details of this. And all they can tell me is, well, someone was shot. Well, there's more to it. Well, we couldn't get anything out of the person that was injured. They wouldn't tell us anything. Now, there's several reasons for that. A lot of times it's scared of retaliation, as we learned not long ago, if y'all remember, the gentleman that gave statement that someone had robbed a house, he saw him. They retaliated against him and shot in his house, attempted to kill him. They're up for attempted murder. That has a lot to do with how much and people are willing to talk. I know it's easy on even my side. I sit back, well, if more people would just talk and tell the truth, more people would go to jail. Well, there's a reason they won't. They're scared to, no other way to put it. They're scared for their lives, their family, that someone will retaliate against them. We see this in Jackson. A man was shot. They come up on him. He ain't said anything. He has no idea what happened. He's not going to talk. That happened so many times. And if you'll look at the big picture, you understand that, of how you can be in fear. You live in a community that, well, they'll come back. If I talk, they've got friends of friends who will come visit me. We have got to get a grip on all of this crime to where that doesn't ever enter your mind. Remember the days when if you done something wrong, you went to jail and, well, the system backed you? The good people, the citizens that paid taxes, that obeyed the law? We're living in an era that is nothing like it that I have ever seen. And I think most of us know that it can't continue that way. Something comes to an end, or is the word, it comes to a head. At some point, that will end. It just cannot keep going. Not for the country to continue. You know that. You cannot let lawlessness overtake the land. We're in a bad shape nationwide. As we go to Lake, we brought this up a few days ago. Remember this 18-year-old high school student shot and killed? They've arrested 2. They're also teenagers. Now, what would in the world make 2 teenagers want to take the life of another young man? They're investigating. Hopefully we'll find out more about that. That's not far away. It's in between here and Jackson. After you go through Forest, you'll see the Lake, Mississippi sign. Lake High School is where all of that happened. We pass condolences to friends and family on that. That is serious. As we continue, news that is not so great, or headlines, however you want to word it. Do you remember the young lady, the police officer in the Mississippi Delta, the detective that was murdered in the line of duty, who lost her life, making it the 3rd Mississippi officer this year to lose their life? Suspect has been charged officially with capital murder. We can't beat that. As we'll know today, we'll also have where people can go view her body. They'll have a reception for people to pay their last respects, and the funeral will happen tomorrow there in Greenville. She leaves behind a 3-year-old son. You can never replace a parent when something like this happens. Sad, sad, sad. MBI, Van Cleve, Mississippi. Anytime, and we've talked about this before, that a police officer is involved and their revolver is used, or either their Glock or whatever you want to call it, whatever they're carrying, MBI gets involved. They investigate, and they will do that. That happened in Van Cleve. They're investigating that. When we find out more about it, we'll know. We also still have one continuing in Newton County of an officer involved. MBI is investigating that. We have absolutely no details on that. They're super quiet on all of these cases until they determine the cause and what went on. And they pass along a little bit more information to us. Shad White. We had this posted yesterday. Did y'all read the story on this? Someone that this happened, I want to say about a year ago is when this went on. A lady was caught taking money from a school system, the lunchroom program. Shad White has prosecuted, and she has stood. We go to our friends at Dark Horse Press, and I'll show you this. We put it directly on the page from Shad White yesterday, but this is the story that we've got from our friends at Dark Horse Press. 5 years in prison, she must repay $62,000 in restitution, along with the court case and bond fees that are involved with this. Serious crime. They made a prime example of her. They gave her the full extent of what could be done with her sentencing. As you look deeper into the case, she was even at casinos using the ATM to get money off of the card. That was school money. And things like this do set to where others will think twice before they do that. 5 years in prison for stealing money, that's strong. We'll keep you up to that. We did have a wreck in Harrison County on I-10. Fatality was involved with this. We also looked to Scott County. Ed, you'll have to forgive me. I don't know a lot of the new and upcomers, and especially when you get outside of country music, but I see that a group called Pistol Black will be recording a video in Scott County this Friday. Interesting. If you're over in that area, you may know more about it than I do. I would have to do some serious research to know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. We go to Franklin County for this next headline, and Mississippi Highway Patrol is investigating a missing person's vehicle. Remains were found inside of it. Little details come out of this. Highway 33 in Hamburg is where this was found. We'll find out more about that most likely today as the Mississippi Highway Patrol digs deeper into this. We still have, and y'all know this as well as I do, Kemper County, Mississippi, the elderly lady that came up missing. 0. Still missing. Have no idea what happened. Keep that family. You really need to know these things of what happened, where did they go, and at this point we still know nothing. Flowood officer was involved in a wreck. Him and his dog, the canine officer, they were injured. I think they're going to be okay. But wow. As we go to Mississippi Interstate, we had somebody coming back, a truck driver that had been down in Florida helping clean up, was involved in a wreck on the interstate. He will not make it home now. Condolences to his family on that. He was identified as Frank Culler. He was 58 from Louisiana. He was driving an 18-wheeler when he was involved with a wreck with another vehicle. That just sad, going to help others and lose your life. As we start looking at a few of these headlines that are nationwide this morning, Biden was threatened, along with Benny Thompson. Someone in jail sent a threatening letter to the president, had a powdery substance. He's been charged. He will spend more time in jail. Pretty serious letter that he wrote with what he was going to do. We can't have that. So he's going to be charged, and I'll get to spend a little bit more time in jail. I guess they'll take away his stamps at this point. Let's see here. We have an officer in Indianapolis being charged after a subject was handcuffed, kicking him in the head. The video does appear to match that. How horrible is that? You're defenseless, can't do anything, and being kicked. We've had an airplane crash. A U.S. F-35 exploded in Salt Lake City, $80 million plane. Pilots ejected, they're okay, but we did have a plane go down. Scary that is. See, what else is happening? It's a rarity that you can say that you might agree with Whoopi Goldberg, isn't it? Sometimes her thinking is just yonder way. Can I word it that way? Yonder way? But she is saying that Meghan Markle guilty of making other women feel bad. And she has. If you'll see all these comments that will come out this week about the game show that she used to be on with the suitcases. I remember that, where she called it a bimbo. The other people, Deal or No Deal, that was the name of it. The other contestants on it says, well, we're not bimbos. We were trying to make a living. They were models. I get that. She doesn't think sometimes before her mouth opens. But I will give her credit on this. She is quite the PR person, isn't she? She knows how to stay in the news and make lots of money off of it. She's done well at that. A lot of controversy still surrounding that Netflix deal. They've tried to slow it down, stop it, because of the timing of what it could do. I think it's a little too late for that. Now, another big story that, and I didn't understand it when I watched it, when the show was live, Miss USA. Did y'all watch that? Texas was crowned, and half of the girls in the back walked off, where normally when someone wins a beauty pageant, they walk up, surround them, congratulate them. That wasn't the case. They were saying it was rigged. Did y'all see this story? That it was possibly rigged. That Miss Texas had been flown to places on the Miss USA plane. No one else got to fly, that she was taken, and, well, they thought it was rigged. Let's see here what's happening today. Miss Universe has suspended Miss USA organizer amid claims the pageant was won unfairly. And then the vice president has had to step down over sexual harassment. Oh, they've got problems. I'm not sure. Through the years, I've lost track. I always thought the one to keep track of was Miss America. And maybe it is still the biggest. I know they have Mrs. USA, and they've got it's a bunch of them out there. But I still think most Americans look at Miss America as being the one. Am I right? I'm not sure. I'm not big into the beauty contestants. I know that Miss Mississippi always goes on to Miss America. But that's a mess for them as they try to step back and fix all of this. We've got your forecast, and also we're going to tell you about some events that are coming up in the area. Stay with us. We'll be right back here in just a moment as we begin this Thursday morning.
On this field, as on the gridiron, each inch is fought for and marked by sweat. Each inch taken through disciplined training. With a Kubota L2501 tackling each inch in the trenches, whether those inches are measured here or here, all adding up to yards. For each yard, Kubota measures victory, and the touchdown is Parrish Tractor. Here, we're much more than a tractor store.
Sanders Gas, Sanders Air and Heat is your full-service propane supplier since 1946. We take pride in ensuring reliable, friendly service to our customers. We also provide safety tune-ups related to propane, air conditioning, and heating systems, keeping our community efficient and safe. I'm Chuck Sanders, and yes, we're local.
Welcome back. Good morning, Dorothy Ford. Glad to see you there. Lonnie is up. We also have Steve and Wanda McKinnon. Morning to y'all. Becky Vickers up in Adam. Laura Lee. How are you? We look at Clark County. They're getting ready to have their candy crawl this afternoon there at the EMA. Let's pull this up where you can read this. This is going to be this afternoon from 5:30 until 7:30, located at West Church Street, downtown Quitman. Candy. Everything is free, it says. I may have to go down and visit David and the gang there. But if you're seriously in the area there in Quitman, enjoy yourself. Go by. We do want to remind you of the candlelight vigil that is taking place today at the Care Lodge in Meridian. This is going on. Make sure you can do it. At 6 p.m. is when it will happen. Honor those of domestic violence. And there's a lot of that goes on. Probably the number one thing that our police deal with each and every day. So much goes on behind it. This weekend, don't forget, we've got this coming up. MCC is going to be hosting the Queen City Race for Life and Street Strut. All of this will happen. Kind of pays tribute to those who lost their lives to breast cancer. And, of course, October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Then we've got the big parade coming up Saturday night, downtown Meridian. Hope y'all can make it. That starts at 6 p.m. We'll see you there. All right, let's get into the forecast now. As we told you, it is cold. 32 right now. Let's look at your forecast.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we go back for our record highs, record lows, back in 16, it was hot. 89. A couple of days ago, it was in the 90s back in 2016, but today it set the record at 89. It would be 1964 that it was a cool 2 degrees cooler than today. 30 is what the temp was back in 64 here in the Meridian area, up through Philadelphia. As we look at the forecast for today, it looks great. We can't beat this as we see sunshine and 66-ish in Meridian. We'll see 67 Philadelphia, a little bit warmer there. And as we go further up Highway 15 or Highway 45 toward Columbus, Brooksville, as we go through Macon, we'll get to about 66. Now, down south, looks to be warmer in Laurel as we cut across to Brookhaven, right there at Vicksburg, 71, all the way down to Natchez, following the river. As we go east today and look at Alabama, Tuscaloosa, 65, Burmaland, 64 today. We'll have 65 also showing up in Livingston, Alabama there. Giles, Geiger, that's what it'll be, about 66 there in Geiger, Alabama, if you're going to be in that neck of the woods today. Well, don't forget this is going through at least 8 a.m. this morning. If you haven't walked outside yet, your windshield most likely has something on it. It's frost. It'll be there to at least 8:30 this morning. We've got temperatures all around the state, again, ranging from 28 to 32 degrees this morning. A cold one as we have our first frost. Now, we still got the fire danger lingering throughout today. Precautions, don't burn unless just don't burn. It's not safe right now. I know that just a little bit ago, it was reported that the homeless, and you have to understand, you still can't burn, but Meridian Fire Department has been dealing with that a lot. And y'all know this goes on, the homeless trying to keep warm as they light fires. It can cause other issues, but that's been ongoing throughout the night hours as the Meridian Fire Department has to extinguish these fires. As we look at what's coming for the next 6 to 10 days, this is what we have. Cooler weather out here. We're kind of at normal as it'll warm back up. You'll expect that today as temperatures start to rise over the weekend. We'll get normal and then a cool front following right behind that. Matter of fact, let's look at our 7 days. Here's what we have for today. 66 is what we're expecting. Tonight's low down to, 41. Tomorrow, look at those temps. 76, a low of 50. And by Saturday, it's just perfect. 77, same on Sunday. We'll have some nighttime lows hovering right there at the 49, 50-degree mark. And as the week begins, We'll get back to 79. That was at 80. It's dropped a degree on that, so we're kind of lingering in the 70s there. By Wednesday, 72. Let's move another week into this and go all the way to November the 3rd. 73. We don't crack the 80s anymore all the way through November the 3rd. Now, our biggest chance of rain is going to fall right here around the 28th, about 31%. That's not huge. We've got another 31% the following on the 2nd. But not a lot of chances of rain, and so we urge you not to burn. But lows in the 70s, highs in the 70s, you can't beat that. I almost feel like you're going up to the mountains for a moment there. As we look to the waters, let's take a look and see what's going on in the Gulf. Nothing. That's great. National Hurricane Center says absolutely 0% of anything occurring over the next 48 hours. I like that. We're all safe and sound. As we look to the fishing calendar this morning, let's see what's happening. As we go back to Chet's Paint and Body, your first major time is this morning around 9 o'clock to go fishing. It'll last till nearly lunchtime. Let's call it 11:30. Calm wind becoming west-southwest around 5 miles an hour by the afternoon. Couldn't get any better. It's perfect weather for us as we start a cool morning here. Again, if you can in your neighborhood, warm up your car before you go out. Make sure the kids, as they wait for a school bus, are warm, whether you have to sit in the car with them, however that works. It's cool standing outside. We don't want anybody getting sick. Those colds are horrible. Y'all know that. You've been down that road before. But watch out for your kids as they wait for those school buses. It's mighty cold outside this morning. It'll warm back up in a day or so. Miss Flint said that Shad needs to come to Meridian. He probably does there. Yeah, absolutely there. So we've got more on the way. We will see you soon as we begin another day. Thanks so much for dropping by and visiting with us. We'll be back in 1 hour live. Come back and visit with us. We'll see you soon from the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: